Well, Rodney Presott is joining us at the MannBenham e-gaming event here at the Sefton Hotel. I think you've just flown, as we speak to you, just from London for this occasion. But you obviously got a good overview of e-gaming, and we've got a fair bit of it on the Isle of Man. So what will people be hearing here today?
Well, actually a lot of things. I think what's really important to understand is that the advisory is associated with MannBenham, but it's separate, so we don't have to work, we can work with other parties doing various governance and legal work. So it's a lot broader than that, and the advisory covers things that are really essential for e-gaming, which are compliance, getting ready for those audits, understanding your risk profiles, your AML, and a lot of things, and the law's changing so rapidly. To be fair, my background's more on the technology, so the underlying technology, so things like payments, tokenization of various gaming things. I've done work with loyalty schemes, and I've worked with some interesting potentially gaming startups. So I did a horse racing one where we virtualized horses.
Right, okay. What is going to be happening here though today? You've got movers and shakers from the Isle of Man, you've got people coming from further afield? Yeah,
so we've got, obviously, because it's about the Isle of Man and the regulatory framework and the things that need to be addressed here in e-gaming. But we've got people coming in that can add different perspectives and advice and things to consider before you actually, or while you're dealing with challenges, or looking at new opportunities, or moving ahead so you can continue to be compliant and also grow your businesses.
See, we always say this now, compliance. It was the Wild West when it all started. Now everyone's talking about compliance, and there's been cutbacks here on the Isle of Man. You hear about PokerStars pulling back a bit, microgaming are going out poker and all sorts of things. Should we be worried here on the Isle of Man about that sort of thing?
I don't think you should be worried, but I think you should be very aware. The regulatory framework, it is becoming global. You have to be a lot more aware of constraints and controls that you need to be applying, or at least being either compliant with, or figuring out a way not to deal with potential conflicts where you would have somebody that came from a jurisdiction which you wouldn't be able to deal with, or you wouldn't be compliant.
I mean, everyone's after this business to some degree. I mean, years ago it was the Isle of Man had a pretty good reign on things, but I mean, everyone sees it as a good money spinner, should we say, for the economy, employing people. So, I mean, is the Isle of Man on message, keeping people here, doing what it needs to do?
I think it is, and I think it's actually a really important thing. It's got because of the size, you've got the ability to talk with the regulators and work with people, and work with the industry in a lot more collaborative and open communication than you would say in a lot of larger jurisdictions where it's incredibly regulated. You want to have a discussion with the regulator about a potential opportunity, or you want to understand the way the legislation's going or the regulations. You might have to wait months before you can actually go see somebody, and even then you'll get a very vague, if not particularly, it's very hard to get some of that engagement.
And the Brexit thing, as we speak, it's obviously still unfolding or not unfolding, whatever. Is there any more troubles with that happening for the Isle of Man? I'm trying to keep it local, but on a global basis then, or whatever. How much disruption could it be?
It's interesting for me. So I'm a New Zealander. I've come on an ancestry visa, so I've been in the UK since November 17. So I've watched the Brexit circus unfold, and a lot of my area has been actually in banking and payments and some of the infrastructure in that area. The answer to that one is, I have no idea.
It's the oddest answer, actually, because most people haven't. Well, no one knows that.
No, I think the biggest thing you should really understand is potentially, if the EU really has a big myth about the whole thing, gaming and all these things require payment rails, they require compliance, and there's a whole lot of things that happen. Know your customer AML. They could make it extremely difficult because currently you're covered by sets of regulations, the way you work, your systems, etc., are all compliant. If you're outside the EU, does the EU now say, well, now you have to be re-audited and you have to be recertified, and no, you can't do these things, and you can't sell to, and you can't do with?
So there's some clouds there, or some
potential unknowns.
And another thing, quickly before we finish, a Corbyn government, a Labour government for the Isle of Man, he's threatened all sorts of things for the offshores. Could that be a disruptor as well?
I would probably say so. Again, I'm not an accountant, I'm more a technologist.
Yeah.
I apologise for that.
That's right.
I have the misfortune of having worked for consulting firms for quite a while as well, and having been an accountant when I was a very young fellow. So, in answer to your question, yes, that could be a big problem. It really depends on what's driving it. Why what is the intention of what they're trying to do? And if it's to stop revenue leakage, or to stop tax leakage, or protect the working man, I have no idea. So potentially, yes, could be quite disruptive. Then again, it may not be. They might have bigger fish to fry. I mean, there are other things they might want to deal with.
Harry, I know you've got a lot of speakers there, and they've all been kept to 15 minutes, so it's going to be moving on at quite a pace. But there's obviously expecting a lot of people here today. So, I mean, other companies have done things, but there's still obviously a great interest in this sector.
Look, it is a growing sector, and it's going to keep on growing because people are doing stuff online nowadays. And it's not about going into your local pub or your local betting shop or the local course. It's actually doing it online when I feel like it, when I want to. So, and it's also the world's getting more connected. So you have people that are interested in these sort of some of the Asian markets are absolutely obsessed about some of the opportunities they could, gaming and things like that. So I think it's going to keep on expanding because it's a global population you're dealing with, but you need to think differently as well.